Electric vehicles is the upcoming strategic industry that has gripped the global supply chains, primarily owing to their significance in marking a shift to renewable energy utilization and becoming a catalyst to transitioning towards a green economy. The use of critical minerals for the production of EV batteries has also given rise to another domain of economic competition, especially when every major power wants to have a stronghold on the manufacturing of these batteries. One major power already does China. When it comes to the manufacturing of EV batteries, much of the world relies on the production in China, as majority of the batteries in countries like India and the USA are still imported from China. This particular positioning of China as a leading manufacturer is crucial for two reasons. One, it gives China an unprecedented power over the EV supply chain, giving it the power to disrupt the supply chains as and when it deems fit. The second reason is that countries like the US and India also find themselves being dependent on their geopolitical rival, China. While India as well as the US are devising new ways of incentivizing EV battery manufacturing in their local industries, it would be necessary to understand how we got to this point. How did China become a giant in the EV battery manufacturing sector? It was after the global financial crisis of 2007-08 that China understood the gaps in West-dominated economic paradigms. Until then, China itself was dependent on the West for the development of its own automotive industry, as the focus was on non-renewable energy sources for automotive vehicles. It was after the crisis that China started shifting its focus on something that would become a dominating factor in the years to come: electronic vehicles. After extensive research and transformation in the automotive industry, the manufacturing of electric vehicles started taking center stage in China. This was also reflected in the rising status of China's electric vehicles, as opposed to the previous non-renewable fuel-dominated vehicles from China that were primarily considered of low quality. A major factor contributing to China's rise in this field is also the fact that the country exported the locally manufactured EV batteries at the reasonably low cost to other countries, as well as the immense manufacturing potential. These factors, coupled with consistency in production, led the way to China becoming the dominant power in the global supply chains. Despite not having the maximum reserves of critical minerals needed for the production of the EV batteries, China, from the very beginning of their venture into the EV industry, had laid importance to acquiring the necessary raw materials for the production of the EV batteries. World's largest lithium reserves can be found in Latin America, more specifically in Chile, Bolivia, and Argentina, as well as in Australia. However, it is China that has been able to monetize the lithium processing, despite having just 8% of the world's lithium reserves. The secret lies in investing heavily in foreign lithium mines, especially in Africa and Latin America. When it comes to raw critical minerals, China is leaving no stone unturned, even entering into dialogues with Afghanistan's Taliban on mining the Hindu Kush mountains for critical minerals. This hunger for acquiring every outlet for lithium has let China be in abundance of this raw material refining. This acquired raw material is also a sector where China seems to be in the lead. As China dominates the global EV battery market, major powers are trying to devise ways of moving away from their dependence on China. When it comes to India, the country holds immense potential in the production sector. However, the lack of availability of the raw material has become a challenge. India is completely import dependent when it comes to lithium due to the lack of local reserves. This dependence on China will become a challenge for India in the long run, and the country has started creating ways to diversify the sourcing of lithium for the EV battery production. The same is also true for the United States. High-ranking EV manufacturers in the US are dependent on China for the imports of lithium-ion components, significant for battery production. This poses a strategic question. Can India and the US collaborate in diversifying their resource acquisition? Increasing partnerships with leading lithium-producing countries such as Argentina, Chile, and Australia could serve the purpose in the longer run. It has been projected that both India and the US are likely to increase their EV battery production in the next 5 years. While the production in the US may move from 131 gigawatt-hours to 1037 GWh, India's production may rise from 18 gigawatt-hours in 2023 to 120 gigawatt-hours in 2028. Given this projection, China's share in global market might also reduce, if not considerably, in the coming years.